Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
Hello, welcome everybody. It's been a crazy few days. So, I don't know why this has popped up on my screen, but there. Wow, right? Wow. So, welcome to Dion's Daily Dose. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Dion Bergeron. I live in Michigan City, Indiana, and I ran for state representative in 2020 for the state of Indiana, District 9. And I will be running again in 2022. But in the meantime, there are some very concerning things that I've come across. We're just going to dive right in. First of all, I'm sure you've heard by now that Joe Biden has mandated the shot for everyone in businesses over 100 people. What he's basically done is he's told these businesses, you can't just offer testing anymore. You have to require it. Now, bear in mind, there are multiple videos out there. I've shared them on my page. You can find them quite easily where the press secretary acknowledges that people coming across the southern border are not required to get the shot, but American citizens are. I am wholly in favor of making your own decisions for your own welfare. Anytime we start mandating things, we get into a slippery slope that is just unconscionable. Bear in mind, this is the same person who said that they were against mandating it. Let me just dive right in because there's some things that I want to show you. We have a situation. There we go. Where we have big pharma that is donating to political campaigns up and down the spectrum. We're talking everything from president all the way down to local races, which is very concerning for me. And let me just say, I'm not calling out anyone specifically on this. People on both sides of the aisle, RD, independent, even on a couple. It's no one in particular. So let's make sure we understand that. It's not any particular political party, but millions and millions and millions of dollars have been funneled into our elections. Let me just show you just a little bit, and this is 10 minutes maybe of digging. It didn't take long to get this information. It's supposed to be public information, but let me show you what we're looking at here. So this is from Pfizer, and we'll talk about Pfizer in just a moment, but from Pfizer, this is actually from the 2019-2020 spectrum here. And we have, if you follow the cursor here, Senator Braun got $1,000. Senator Young, $3,500. Now, here's the interesting thing. There are 100 state representatives for the state of Indiana, and there are 50 senators. So I just want to point this out real quick. So we know that there are 50 state senators, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Only 12 out of 50 senators received money from Pfizer. It looks like 1, 2, 3. 3 of them got $500, and the rest got $250. A pretty standard donation. There are 100 state representatives in Indiana. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17 out of 100 Indiana state representatives receive money from Pfizer. One seems to jump above the rest, and that is Representative Todd Michael Huston, he got $1,000. Everyone else, not everyone, I'm sorry. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 got $500, and the rest got $250. This is from, I went and looked into Moderna, and I'm going to tell you, Moderna is very, very hard to see where their money goes. Johnson & Johnson is much easier. I'm just going to share a couple of things here. So Todd Young received $2,000 from Johnson & Johnson for the general election. That's what you see here. And $500 for the primary. Okay. Again, this is not specifically for anyone because, as you'll see, Frank Mervan got $1,000 for the primary. Mervan for Congress, right? It's up and down, and it's both parties, and it's all through the system, all the way up and down. As you can see, let's just click on Johnson & Johnson here. This is total contributions from Johnson & Johnson PAC to federal candidates, pretty evenly split, right? 50-50, very close, 50.32 to 49.68. So it's not any one, party. But here we go, $10,000. Boom, 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 boom. 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand, 10 grand, 8,500, 8,000, 7,000. And these are all up and down. I did not really dig through these that extensively to find out who got what from where, or who in Indiana has it. That's what the current J&J stuff was about. But this is a very interesting article that I hope everyone takes a moment to at least look at and understand. More than 2/3 of Congress cashed a Pharma campaign check in 2020. More than 2/3. 72 senators and 302 members of the House of Representatives cashed a check from the pharmaceutical industry ahead of the 2020 election, representing more than 2/3 of Congress. Pfizer's Political Action Committee alone contributed to 228 lawmakers. Amgen's PAC donated to 218, meaning that each company helped to fund the campaigns of nearly half of the lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Overall, the sector donated $14 million. $14 million. The breadth of the spending highlights the drug industry's continued clout in Washington. Even after years of criticism from Congress and the White House over high prices, it remains routine for the elected officials who regulate the healthcare industry to accept six-figure sums. And Connie, you're absolutely right. Big Pharma and politicians are in bed together. There is no other way to look at this information. It's an interesting map up here that's interactive. You can see all the people on it, right? So let's zoom in a little bit here. Zoom over here to Indiana, and we can see that. Oh, wait, what is that? Who are these people? Hold on here. What's this blue dot right here? Eli Lilly. Oh my. Look at Eli Lilly. Total amount paid $631,900, right? And who did they donate to? They donated to this person. They donated to this person. They donated to that person, and that one, and that one, and that one. All up and down the state, right? That's very interesting, right? Andre Carson. It's interesting. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not looking to make enemies right out the gate, but I do think that a lot of these people need to maybe wonder why they're accepting so much money from some of these people. This is from OpenSecrets.org. A lot of really interesting things here. Eli Lilly, as you can see, They gave big to Joe Biden, Mitch McConnell. There's a shock, right? Mitch McConnell, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, DNC Services Corp, etc. Moderna. This is what I want you to show you. This is what I want to show you because this is fascinating to me, and you guys can draw your own conclusions. You're adults. Let me show you this. Annual lobbying by Moderna, right? Now, in 2019, look at that. They had one lobbyist in 2019. One. Just one. And they spent $30,000 in the third quarter. Now, in 2020, they suddenly had two lobbyists and spent in the first quarter $10,000, second quarter $70,000, third quarter $100,000, fourth quarter $100,000. So look at the jump from 2019 to 2020. Now here's the really interesting part. From 2020 to 2021, they went from 2 lobbyists to 14. In the first quarter of 2021, they spent $160,000. In the second quarter, $130,000 already. You draw your own conclusions. Again, $290,000 total so far. And Dave nails it. Contributions are chump change compared to what the votes buy. They can easily double, triple, quadruple their profits on backing the people that they want to make the policies, right? I highly recommend that you check this out. This is Stat News, and here's the title, right? More than 2/3 of Congress cashed a pharmacy campaign check in 2020. Put that in, you'll find it. Statnews.com. There are a couple other things that I want to show you. So we'll get to this in just a minute. But who has paid the largest criminal fine in U.S. history? Well, that's pretty easy. It was Pfizer. In Pfizer's 2009 settlement, the company had to pay a criminal fine of $1.195 billion, and its subsidiary, Pharma and Upjohn Company, had to forfeit $105 million for a grand total of $1.3 billion. Now, interestingly enough, if you scroll down here, list of largest pharmaceutical settlements: GlaxoSmithKline, False Claims Act; Pfizer, False Claims Act; Johnson & Johnson, False Claims Act. Guys, look, I am not anti-vax in any way, shape, or form. My children were vaccinated before they went to school, but that's a choice you need to make. And again, are we going to trust companies that have consistently been sued for lying? And that's my problem. The other thing that I really want to touch on is, so we have this mandate, right, or whatever you want to call it, this executive order, this statement by the dictator in the White House, allegedly. So we've got this statement saying businesses over 100 people have to have their people vaccinated, right? I got to get the shot. Okay, which one? Because bear in mind, there is only one of these products that has been cleared by the FDA for anything other than emergency use authorization. And if you actually look into it and do your research, it's not the one that's commonly on the market right now. It's a special formulation, and it's very difficult to get right now. Now, a lot of people, they just hear, oh, it's approved, we can go get the Pfizer shot, whatever. Look into it. That's all I'm saying. If you want to get it, look into it, learn the difference, because there is a difference. But here's the problem. You suddenly say, okay, we're making this mandatory. Okay. Agree, disagree, whatever. That's what they choose to do. Which one? Does it matter? Do you care? I think that's important, right? Because can you mandate something that is not approved. And if the one that's approved has low stock, which is the case and kind of hard to get, I think we're on a very slippery slope, people. I really do. And this is something that I think everyone needs to be aware of. Let me share this with you here. So the CDC, the CDC has changed the definition of vaccination 3 times in 6 years. They replaced immunity with protection in September 2020. Now, if you remember, it used to say that a vaccine provided immunity. Well, over the past 18 months, the government and public health officials have said repeatedly that vaccines are our only hope to end this deadly pandemic. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has repeatedly said that the vaccines would prevent people from getting hospitalized and even death. Just back in April, the CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, went as far as saying that vaccinated people do not carry the virus and don't get sick. Remember that? But that turned out to be false. The CDC later walked back its claim that vaccinated people do not carry COVID, saying, quote, the evidence isn't clear. Which leads us to the question, what exactly is the scientific definition of vaccination? I think that's a really good question. To answer this question, we turn to the authoritative source, the CDC. To our surprise, the CDC does not have a consistent definition for vaccination or vaccines. In fact, the CDC's definition of vaccination has evolved over the year. In the last 6 years, for example, webpage archives show that CDC has changed the definition of vaccination at least 3 times. That's not all. In September 2020, the CDC decided to replace the word immunity with protection. Below is a screenshot of the CDC definition of vaccination over the last 6 years. Now, prior to 2015, vaccination was injection of a killed or weakened infectious organism in order to prevent the disease, right? That's what it always was. 2015 to 2021, though, the act of introducing a vaccine into the body to to produce immunity to a specific disease. This was as late as 2021. Now, September 2021, the act of introducing a vaccine into the body to produce protection from a specific disease. Remember, follow the science, but the science is always changing. Science evolves, right? Look, people, come on. Here are the archives. The receipts, as they say. August changed again, and they changed the definition because the thing that they want you to get is not what they claimed it was. And again, that's my issue. That's my issue. We have to figure out, if we can't even agree on the basic terminology, then they can keep moving the goalposts. It's just that simple. Again, largest criminal fines in history, list of largest pharmaceutical settlements, and the laws allegedly violated. False Claims Act. All of the companies, every single company that is involved in this has been found guilty of breaking the law with trials, with all kinds of stuff. It's pretty disgusting, actually. It really, really is. I want to let you guys know there is the Popcorn Festival in Valpo tomorrow. It starts off with the Popcorn Panic, 5 mile and 5K walk/run at 7:20, hosted by Valpo Parks. 8:30 is the Little Colonel Puff Race. 9 a.m. will be the 9/11 Remembrance at Michigan Avenue music stage. 9 to 6:30, they're going to have over 250 craft food and fine arts booths open. Ultimate Pop and Play Zone. They'll have inflatables and games. At 10 a.m., the Popcorn Parade starts. And I want to let you guys know the Valpo Republicans made an awesome float for it. I'll show you that in just a moment. Noon to 7, the beer garden will be open. 12:30 to 5, Michigan Avenue Music Stage. 1:30 to 6:30, Festival Main Stage. They're going to have the Mud Sharks, Small Town of John Mellencamp Experience, the Uprooted Band. And then on the music stage, Michigan Avenue Music Stage, the Instinct, the Blues Project, and Mindfully Blind. So it's supposed to be pretty awesome. I wanted to walk in the parade. I actually told people that I would walk in the parade. Unfortunately, I have a toe/foot injury that prevents me from walking. My doctor, followed by my wife, said, absolutely not. You are not walking in the parade. You have to stay off of that. Blah, blah, blah. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to walk. But what I can do is tell you about it and pass along the information. Let me actually find. I think I found it. There we go. All right, let me get you. Check this float out, guys. It's pretty awesome. There we go. That is the float that the Valpo Republicans made, the 9/11 Remembrance Float. I think they did a phenomenal job on this, and I hope you'll support them. I asked one of the people involved if there was something that I could do that didn't involve walking. I haven't been able to hear back yet. Dave makes a great point. How many drugs have been pulled and recalled after the FDA approved them? All of them. All of them. Every time you see one of these TV commercials that say, were you injured as a result of such and such medication? Call us. You may be eligible for compensation. Every single one of those medications were FDA approved. Every single one. These are not, they don't do that for trials. They do that for medication that's been released to the public. Zantac, right? Zantac is a very, very common antacid that helped people for quite a while. Let's take a look here. If you have cancer after using blah, 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 you might be entitled to compensation. Antacid linked to cancer. Let me show you this. All I put was Zantac lawsuit. Look at that. In case you forgot, Johnson & Johnson is the company that pushed baby powder that caused cancer. Baby powder. If they can't get baby powder right, I'm not trusting them for stuff I stick in my body. Connie said tomorrow is her 70th birthday. She turned 50 on 9/11. Well, happy birthday early. I have a series of things that I have to do tomorrow. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video, 20th anniversary. If I don't get it tomorrow, I'm definitely doing it Sunday. I think it's important. And I'll tell you guys what happened with me on that day. A lot of things changed. And I'm not going to make this any more political than it already is, but I will say the fear from that event was used to push the Patriot Act. And a lot of us fell for it. A lot of us that normally would be 100% in favor of personal freedoms and liberties and keeping the government at bay, we fell for it. And we said, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, then what's to fear, right? What's to fear? I think it's pretty clear now what's to fear. We have seen countless examples of the federal government overreach and going into our business and using that excuse to drum up cases and create issues. I wholeheartedly agree, Connie. Never forget. Not just that, but about the effects of it, right? The mistrust and issues that were created, people attacking gas station owners because they look different, but also people coming together and reminding everyone what it was like to be an American. going into those buildings and pulling people out, and the vast numbers of people that lost their lives on that day. Never forget. Absolutely. So ultimately, here's the question that I have for you, and you can leave your answer. I'm going to give you the stage, right? So we've looked at all of. Matter of fact, let's bring this back up so we can really understand what we're looking at here. We've seen all the money that gets funneled into local races, right? Not just local, but across the spectrum from president on down. There were some that I saw that went as close. Excuse me. Went as small as city council races and stuff like that. So these are all links. So you can check out my Facebook. I got it on there. But here's my question to you. Initially, my first instinct was, I'm just not going to take any money from questionable sources, places like Big Pharma and stuff like that. And someone very close to me said, well, why would you turn down potential finances that could help you get elected, right? And I said, well, how am I going to call out this type of thing if I'm okay with accepting it, right? And they said, well, shouldn't you use, it doesn't mean you're going to do anything for them, right? You can absolutely take that money and go, hey, thanks. Doesn't mean I'm going to help you. Doesn't mean I'm going to do anything for you. And this leads into a deeper discussion about how difficult it is for regular people, those who don't have massive bank accounts, those who don't have access to huge reelection war chests. How do regular people get elected, right? And what do you think? What's your opinion? Should someone who is working with very limited funds and doing what they can to get out there and represent the people, should they turn down money from sources like this? Should they say, no, I don't want your money? Or should they accept the money but make no promises? Don't do anything for them, but hey, you're going to give it to my opponent. Why shouldn't I use it? Right? What do you think? Until there is widespread legislation, sweeping legislation that prevents this kind of crap, should the good guys benefit from it too? Or should we just say, no, we're better than that? What do you think? I'm interested in your opinion. I'm not sure. At first I was adamant, no, absolutely not. I'm not going to take their money. They can, blah, blah, blah. But is it okay to use the same tactics and the same donations that go to other people? Is it okay to use that? And you're absolutely right, Dave. And this is important that people understand. This only shows the direct contributions. Lobbying firms, that's a whole other thing. That's how they funnel this money. They'll take $100,000, for example, and pay it to this firm that just goes out and spreads their influence, right? That works on bills and tells lawmakers, oh, let's go out to lunch and we'll talk about this bill and blah, 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 blah. What do you guys think? Is it okay? Is it not okay? Is it something that people should stay away from? Is it something that is okay to use because the other side's using it? Because, hey, we're playing by the rules, right? If you guys don't like the rules, let's change them. I'm all for banning lobbyists from donating to anybody. This whole political system has just gone to where the most money poured in from various sources, it's insane, right? What's the answer? Until we can enact sweeping reform, is it okay to accept money from all these different sources, but just act right when you're in there making laws? Don't do anything for them. They probably won't contribute next year, but hey, what do you think? I don't know what the answer is. It's easy to sit on a high horse and say, well, no, I won't take that money and I won't help this person and I won't do this for them or that for them. That's great if you're standing on principles and don't intend on ever getting elected. The system is corrupt. The question is, can you represent, can you make changes without getting elected? If you're running, people make changes all the time without getting involved politically. But my point is, if you're involved in the system, if you're running for office, right, can you enact changes without actually getting elected? And if the answer is no, yeah, you can talk and you can have a show like I've done. You can say what's on your mind. But to actually enact legislative reform, you got to get elected. So how far down that slide do you go? Telling yourself, oh, I'm just doing it so I can do this. I'm just doing it so I can do that. What do you think? Yeah, I understand, Connie, and I'm right there with you. Me, myself, this is the way I look at it. How can I take money from the very people that are trying to hurt the people I'm supposed to represent? And that's the other side of the coin, Dave. They hold the ball, so you have to play the game, and you have to have money to get elected. I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I came very, very close to getting elected on a very, very tight budget. We're going to have to play the game a little differently this year, but I do not want to. I don't want to I don't want to. I don't want to lose the principles that have gotten me to where I'm at. I think it's really, really important. Yeah, you're going to have some meetings you don't want to have. You're going to have some discussions you don't want to have. And there are ways, in my opinion, that you can use the money that comes to you and not represent the interests that gave it. But if I'm going to call out people for taking thousands and thousands of dollars from Big Pharma, shouldn't I turn around and say, I don't want that, right? I don't want that. It's a tough situation, because in order to get elected, sometimes you need money. You need money to get elected. You need money for signs, commercials, running ads on Facebook, getting your message out there, using some of these programs like these text messaging programs. All of that's needed. It's all necessary nowadays. And all that stuff costs money. So if you're gonna get elected, you're gonna need money. Where's the money come from? Especially nowadays, people are hurting. There are still many people that are. It's funny because we've gone from people being forced to stay at home, right? The last election, forced to stay at home because of this virus. Now they're being forced to inject themselves with something or lose their job. More jobs than people, we're told. Places can't have employees. They can't get enough employees. But yet now they're going to be forced to tell some of those people, I'm sorry, but I can't keep you on because you will not subject yourself to something that's not a law. Let's keep this in mind. We had this discussion back at the beginning of this whole thing with these mask mandates. Mandates are not laws. Yes, there can be potential repercussions for them. Like, for example, businesses can choose to decide whether or not you have to wear a mask in there. And that's their choice. And the business can, in turn, tell you if you don't wear a mask, you cannot come in. That is absolutely their choice. I don't think government should be involved in that at all. I think government needs to sit down and shut up. And I would absolutely vote. I would much rather err on the side of freedom. That's the bottom line. I would much rather have made a decision that allowed people to make their own decisions, if regardless of the consequences. I think it's always important to err on the side of freedom. Period. Look at Dave, nurses were heroes, now zeros if they don't submit, and that's absolutely it. You've got these big hospitals, these health organizations that are telling their nurses, you have to get a shot, and they're saying no, I'm not going to. Now all of a sudden they don't want them around. It's absolutely insane. So I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that in order to get into office, you've got to have money. So where does that money come from? It's got to come from somewhere. So if you, the real question though is, if you can't drum up the grassroots support, right, for your campaign, I think this is a kind of a broader question, but if you're unable to drum up the grassroots support for your campaign so that individuals can donate, and donate enough that can get you elected, are you really popular? Are you really the popular choice? Are you really the candidate that the people want? Because I think that's what it should be, as this whole grassroots type deal. But and Connie, I hear you. If we don't hold some people accountable for many of the abuses of power that we've seen in many instances, up and down the spectrum, then nothing is going to change. And you're right, Chris. Chris says we can't even remove it from local politics. Why talk about it on the national level? And you're right. We have to start local, right? We have to clean house locally. We have to get people out that are infections. We have to clean out the infection, and we have to use the saline wash of a new person to start bringing about healing. That's the only thing we can do. I think it's unfortunate that many of these career politicians that have been in for most of their lives couldn't know less about how it is to be us, that if they really tried. Yeah. And you're right, Dave. Money buys popularity. It's not just about that, though. Here's the interesting thing. It's not just about money buying the popularity. The money is used to get your name out there, right? The sad part is the vast majority of people who go into the voting booth respond to name recognition. They see the name on the ballot and they check the box because it's the name that they recognize. There's a lot of psychology involved in it, but the main thing is most people don't do their research when it comes to politicians. They go in to vote, and maybe there might be one or two positions they care about, like, for example, in this last election, president, right? I really hate this person. I really don't want this person to win, whatever. But then a bunch of the other stuff on the ballot, they don't know who these people are. If they've seen a billboard, if the name is clicked in their head a few times by hearing it on the radio or seeing an ad or two, oh yeah, I recognize. Click. It's impressions, right? We went to a little class where I learned that it's impressions. You want 7 impressions. That's what the money buys. The money buys those impressions, whether it's via the newspaper, whether it's via ads on TV. All these things feed into the impressions. It's the number of times these people have seen your name or your face and clicked. That's what the vote is about, right? That's what it's about. So it sucks, man. Trust me. I know. I don't understand how some people can keep voting for the same people, knowing that they do not represent anything that the people want. But it's about those impressions. It's about that money buying the ads. That's why you see so many of these ads over and over and over and over. It's those impressions, right? So just so you guys know, I've been in contact with Michigan City Police Department. The sergeant in charge of training has agreed to come on the program. We're trying to figure out what date. I'll let you guys know. But we're going to talk about training in MCPD. They actually go above and beyond what the state requirements are for their training programs, especially as it relates to the autistic and mentally ill. I think it should be a very interesting, engaging evening, and I hope you'll join me. Like I said, I'll let you know when we agree on a date. A few more people that I want to come on the program here. Trying to get in touch with them and get it ironed out, but we'll see. There's some fun stuff coming up, and thanks for joining me. See you guys later. God bless you. God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers Sean Holgram and Michael Beatty. Copyright 2021. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights reserved.